Our Canada's government is considering a proposal to allow advance requests for assisted suicide. It is the latest pro-euthanasia legislation to be considered in the North American country. This measure would permit citizens to pre-arrange to be euthanized if they reach a stage where they are unable to consent to the procedure. The comments period opened earlier this month and it runs until February. And for more on this, we turn now to Alex Schadenberg, Executive Director of the Euthanasia Prevention Coalition, and he is based in Canada. Alex, always great to have you on the show. So tell us a little bit more about this proposal and how it would look from a practical point of view.
So I first have to say why this is happening now is Quebec, and Quebec, if you know anything about Canada, tends to do things on their own, has already instituted this. They already asked the prosecution service in Quebec not to prosecute doctors who do euthanasia. They kill a patient based on an advance request. So that's where it started. So now the federal government is looking at the question. They had already a study they did in 2022 that the report came out in February 15th, actually, of 2023, saying that they did support this idea. They have not instituted it. So what it actually means is that, exactly as you said ahead of time, somebody is now incompetent, and they then had declared ahead of time that they would want to be killed if they were incompetent. So then you get a situation with people with dementia, or let's say someone even having a car accident, having a serious head injury, that would make it a situation where they've become incompetent. Then somebody else would have to make the decision to go ahead and lethally inject them.
Alex, I know the federal government says it wants Canadians to share their thoughts and is asking for input not only from patients and healthcare providers, but also Indigenous citizens and persons with what they call lived experiences. Why in particular do they want to hear from Indigenous people, and what do they mean by lived experiences?
Well, it's very interesting what they're doing. They're trying to say that they're giving, how would you say, a wide consultation. So that's why they're saying they're looking at people who are Indigenous, people with disabilities, people from other sort of racial backgrounds, etc. But the biggest question they should be asking themselves is why so many of the questions in their consultation were actually written in such a way as to imply that you actually support euthanasia by advance request. So we put out a whole guide as to how to answer this questionnaire, because quite a few of our supporters said, Alex, I can't answer this questionnaire because I don't support euthanasia by advance request, but there's a whole series of questions that imply that you do. And so obviously speaking, we wrote up a response to that. But what's ridiculous, of course, is once again, the idea of the consultation is to look like something that it's not. Their goal is to expand the legislation further, and they want to say they've had a wide consultation, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, you know, something that we haven't really talked about before is this organ harvesting from those who have, are assisted suicide. I know Canada, that is apparently one of the top countries in the world when it comes to organ donations. So discuss this with us. And I know not everyone can actually donate their organs, such as people with cancer. So unpack that for us.
Well, the fact of it is that when somebody asks for an assisted death in my own province of Ontario, there is a protocol in most of the hospitals that they would also then be approached about organ donation. Now, the issue is very concerning because, it tries to then, for some people, it creates some sort of a good to this idea of being killed, because then my organs can then be given to somebody else. So this is a real concerning thing. The problem with it also is how it's changed ethics, because the whole concept of organ donation, you have to be dead to give your organs. And now the question is, well, why would you have to be dead to give your organs? If you've already consented to be killed, why should we kill you first before taking your organs? Why not just take your organs? And this is the whole debate that's going on now, and it seems ridiculous, but once you legalize killing, which is what we've done in Canada by euthanasia, it's killing, it's lethal injection. Once you've done that, everything becomes open, and this is the one issue that has really become problematic. Yes.
Yeah, very problematic and disturbing too. Before we run out of time, I want to bring this up. Yesterday we reported there are a lot of calls for Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to step down, and a no confidence vote apparently could be coming rather soon. Would it change in government, Alex? Would that have any impact on this push for assisted suicide in your country?
Well, it all depends on how any election would end, but the fact of it is that I'm not hiding anything. Mr. Trudeau has been massively supportive of euthanasia, and his government has been ridiculous in how they've promoted it. So obviously we would hope for a government change. The fact of it is only the future will tell us what will happen. I don't want to get into all the politics of this. I will say that the recent report that came out of the federal government, and this is a big shocker, showed that there was 428 euthanasia deaths in Canada in 2023, which were likely outside of the law. Well, 422, I mean. And there was 620 some odd deaths in euthanasia in Canada in that report, which showed that they were very questionable at best and probably should not have happened. When you look at these numbers, we're talking about real lives, real human beings who are dead. And this is exactly what we're talking about with euthanasia and what's happened in my own country.
Well, Alex, we appreciate you always weighing in for what you do. Thanks so much. God bless.
Thank you so much.